A very good evening from wherever you're watching us from. Thank you so much. This is Lookuptv News. I am Nancy Nalimana, our sign language interpreter for tonight is Felista Adundo. We've got lots lined up for you. A very eventful day in the 254. Before we get into it, here are our top stories.
Tonight on Lookuptv News. Immigration ordered to block travel by individuals associated with WorldCoin without DCI clearance, as 4 cabinet secretaries are questioned in Parliament over the controversial data collection. The government seeks to raise debt ceiling to avert the prevailing tough economic times.
Last year ilikuwa almost 2K, sasa tunalifeel hata na 1,000.
Gas prices reduced by 500 shillings in Narok, Busia and Migori counties. And a family in Kakamega in anguish over the missing of their 21-year-old daughter since June.
Once more, welcome to the broadcast. The hashtag is #LookUpNews. You can stream this live broadcast across all the social media platforms where we are at Lookuptv on Twitter, Lookuptv on Facebook, and Lookuptv on our YouTube channel. Do let us know as well where you are watching us from. I'll be sampling some of your feedback at the tail end of this broadcast. Let's begin. The government has seized any further WorldCoin registration in the country, with criminal investigations commencing to establish the authenticity and legality of the registration. Discussing the matter today in the National Assembly, the leader of Majority Kimani Ichung'wa has explained that the government, in conjunction with DCI, is conducting a series of investigations on the safety and protection of the data being harvested and how the company intends to use the data collected, an exercise that saw thousands of Kenyans getting their eyeballs scanned for an exchange of cryptocurrency tokens. Ruga Evil with more.
Member. So Majority Leader, go ahead.
Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Masika Wetangula, has authorized Cabinet Secretaries Professor Kithure Kindiki, Aden Duale, Eliud Owalo, and Moses Kuria to appear before the House on Wednesday at 3 o'clock to face the questions arising on the matter about the registration of WorldCoin.
In view of what you are saying and what the members have expressed, I direct you to bring the 2 ministers to the House on Wednesday at 3 o'clock. On Wednesday at 3 o'clock, and given the weight of the matter, the ministers that you had listed to come and answer questions, that is Minister for Trade and Minister for Defense, you'll shift.
The leader of Majority Kimani Ichung'wa has presented an investigation report against WorldCoin registration activities.
To state the steps the government is taking to ensure control of data, access, collection and storage by foreign entities. 2, who licensed and authorized the biometric data collection by WorldCoin and was the correct procedure followed. 3, safety guarantees that the government has put in place to ensure that the data will be exclusively used for the intended purpose and Kenyan citizens will not incur any loss. Presenting one point after another, he explained the investigation steps taken by the government to analyze this registration. Kimani Ichung'wa has disclosed that the WorldCoin company has no legal registration certificate, neither a license to continue its activities in Kenya. However, the WorldCoin company has been carrying out its activities through a Kenyan-based company by the name Sense Marketing, which is managed by 2 citizens from Kenya, including Emmanuel Otieno and Rael Mwende, who is the general manager. The Directorate of Criminal Investigation has already started a detailed investigation against these 2. Yesterday, the Ministry of Interior Security, through its CS, Professor Kithure Kindiki, suspended the company's activities. It will be critical that assurances of public safety and the integrity of the financial transactions involving such a large number of citizens be satisfactorily provided upfront. All the activities of WorldCoin and any other entity that may be similarly engaging the people of Kenya until relevant public agencies certify the absence of any risks to the general public whatsoever.
In addition, the government has ordered several directives in relation to this issue, including any information registered by WorldCoin stakeholders shouldn't be processed, termination of registration of personal information taken, all the WorldCoin participants chain to be investigated, immigration departments to be investigated together with the servers' registration materials that were imported into Kenya without inspection.
As a precautionary measure, the immigration authorities have been directed to ensure that no persons, whether Kenyan or foreign nationals, associated with the entity leaves Kenya without the clearance of the Director of Criminal Investigations, who is in charge of the ongoing investigations. The investigations will also cover any persons of interest who may be outside the territory of Kenya in accordance with relevant international procedures and protocols on mutual legal assistance, MLA, and the exercise of extraterritorial jurisdiction.
In a sitting today, distinguished Member of Parliament have given their insights regarding this WorldCoin registration. Suna East Member of Parliament Junet Mohammed stated that high level of poverty and inertia among the youths has been the main catalyst of this registration.
Much has been contributed towards this. In my opinion, I would like to advise that not only this House should call upon the Minister for Interior to come upon and explain, but we are talking about issues of data. I would also want to voice up that the two ministers, even the Minister for CII, should be called upon this House so that we can be explained for the security issues behind data which has been collected and how that is going to be managed.
Ruga Ival, Lookuptv.
Thank you, Ruga. Away from that, the national government is seeking a chance in law to raise the debt ceiling from the current 10 trillion to allow the country borrow more funds on deficit in the budget. Appearing before the Senate committee, no finance and budget to justify why the ceiling should be raised, Treasury Cabinet Secretary Njuguna Ndung'u says the country is in dire need of funds to offset the budget deficit and enable the government arrest the deteriorating economy. According to CS Njuguna, the current debt ceiling is keeping away both local and international investors due to increased risk factor. Our reporter Henry Tender with more.
With proposals to change the law that caps the national debt ceiling at 10 trillion to allow the government to borrow more at the National Assembly, Treasury CS Njuguna Ndung'u had a date with the Senate Committee on Finance and Budget to justify why the government wants the current ceiling raised to raise more funds to finance both recurrent and development expenditure. CS Ndung'u now says there is an elaborate debt management mechanism in place to effectively handle the increase in debt.
The sensitivity of debt and debt management is becoming very critical. Two, everybody is parading the risk profile on the basis of debt and debt management. So for us, having a clarity in terms of policy clarity in terms of debt management becomes very important.
CS Ndung'u, in laying emphasis on why the debt ceiling should be reviewed upwards, says the current capping of national borrowing at 10 trillion is hurting the economy that is reliant on borrowing to fund the budget deficit. This because lenders are not willing to lend as they are not sure the country can meet its loan repayment obligation.
Even the private sector, the international community cannot give us debt right now. Remember, like just before just last year when they wanted to go to the Eurobond, they couldn't go because essentially they are not telling you we have closed the door, but if they set the rate at 20%, you can't go. You can't. You know, even yourself, if you walk to the bank and they tell you, yes, we are going to give you a loan, how long do you want it, how much? But given your risk profile, we are going to charge you 50% interest. You will not take it, isn't it?
As pressure mounts on the government to deliver on pre-election promises, CS Njuguna is upbeat if the country can renegotiate debt repayment plan to prolong the repayment period, then the burden of national debt on economy will be removed.
We negotiated a Eurobond for 10 years. You cannot roll out the projects that you really want. So we want to solve that problem in the long term, that we can go and we want to roll out a project. That project may take 5 years to build. By the time you start recouping returns from that project, we need to have more time. So we want to negotiate longer term. You can only do that on the basis of your risk profile. But also, you have to have space in your debt carrying capacity.
Njuguna warns in case the debt ceiling is not raised, then the investors will keep shying away from investing in the country.
The debate of debt overhang was actually initiated by private sector members. They want to come to invest in Kenya, but they look at the situation and they see there is a debt overhang problem. How does it show up? Everybody believes the debt is high. If the debt is high, The private sector computation is to say the government is going to raise future taxes to effect a transfer of resources to itself to pay debt.
The Senate committee probed further, seeking to establish why there is no reduction of the current debt despite government spending billions in repayment plan.
So why we are having so much problems, as we say, and I can pronounce it and say, is because the first charge is the debt. Let me go to another extreme. In March, we missed to pay salaries because the first charge is debt.
All eyes are now on the National Assembly to see whether it will find reason in government's arguments and raise the debt ceiling to enable the president deliver on his mandate. Henry Tende, Lookuptv.
Thank you, Tende. Now to security matters. The government is planning to reinstate the law prohibiting transportation of livestock at night as a measure to contain livestock rustling in the affected areas. This is according to Interior CS Kithure Kindiki, who appeared before the Senate Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations, chaired by Senator William Cheptumo. During the session, Kindiki revealed that the ministry is working on 32 cases of reported livestock theft across the country.
Livestock at night, an introduction of tracking and branding gadgets on livestock as a measure to curb livestock rustling menace that continues to cripple security in the northern and rift parts of the country.
We may be forced to take that advice from the Senator for West Pokot and prohibit transportation of livestock at night, and also undertake the verification of livestock transportation licenses.
CS Kindiki affirmed that the government had recovered 7,147 stolen livestock in the past 4 months, as it plans to hire more specialized units to handle the outlaws.
We have spoken through the National Police Service Command to all officers who are serving in the field, especially in these areas, and we have made it clear that they will be held personally responsible. And those who are in charge of the command in those respective jurisdictions will bear command responsibility.
Kindiki noted that the ministry has gazetted some parts in the affected areas termed dangerous, used by bandits as hideouts by pilferers, as it plans to reinforce security in the counties affected by enhancing surveillance in the insecurity-prone areas through the intra-county theft agencies.
We have gazetted certain areas as disturbed and dangerous, and we expelled anybody who was hiding there, because in any case these are not places of habitual residence by any person, and we'll make sure they don't return there. And once the reports we get is that we haven't had cases in the last few days because of enhanced patrols. We are also surveilling, we are exercising surveillance on key livestock markets in that area, because we're also asking ourselves where these livestock go, and therefore we have put scouts and surveillance teams in a number of markets.
According to the CAs, 7 cases have already been determined while 12 are pending trial, as he faulted the complainers of withdrawing of cases soon after the ministry has recovered the stolen livestock.
To be destined for sale in those areas. We have, of course, increased our multi-agency roadblocks, and then whenever we are able to identify suspects, we apprehend and arraign them in court.
Kindiki also aired out issues surrounding the remuneration of village elders and the controversial issue between the Nyumba Kumi and village elders, revealing that the government will swiftly integrate village elders and Nyumba Kumi initiative under the Ngao structure.
I am not able at this point to discuss the figures and details because the work is still in progress. All what I can say by way of highlighting is that we are looking at several scenarios, because we know the public wage bill is a major issue of concern. Yet these are critical additions to the security infrastructure of the state.
Stanley Lugaria, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
Now, President William RUTO says the new funding system for TVET and university students will be fully implemented in a bid to ensure equality among all students in the country. Speaking during the awarding of charter for the Open University of Kenya, Kenya's first virtual university, RUTO also lamented that close to 5,000 schools are not being able to send students to university.
With the thousands of students failing to continue with their tertiary level of education due to lack of funds, the students now have a reason to smile after President William RUTO assured the country of the implementation of the new funding model that was also recommended by the Education Task Force to ensure equality among all university and TVET-going students.
The new funding model at the university, we made the deliberate decision that students from vulnerable families must get 100% scholarship, at least to make sure that those who manage to go that far never drop out because they were not able to pay for this or the other. We cannot continue to have the children of a few Kenyans going up the education ladder. We must make sure that the children of all Kenyans have equal opportunity to be their best.
Speaking during the awarding of charter to the Open University of Kenya, the country's first virtual university, President RUTO decried the high number of students who failed to join universities for failing to meet the set pass marks.
5,000 secondary schools do not send even one student to university. Whole 5,000. Most of them in rural Kenya. That is a cause for us to do some soul searching. Many of the students who end up at our universities are the children in academies and the children of people who can afford a certain quality of education. Kenya cannot continue that way. We have to rethink it.
According to the head of state, the virtual university will offer studies to Kenyans in all walks of life, urging Kenyans in the informal sector to take advantage of the institution as they go about their businesses.
The people who ordinarily would not afford now have an opportunity to acquire university education from very remote places. This is, in my very honest opinion, the university possibly of herdsmen, farmers. Mama Mboga in his place can also attend now university. Matatu drivers, border people, when you are waiting for your passengers, you can attend courses at the university.
Despite belonging to different political formations, President RUTO urged opposition governors to work closely with his government, noting that the construction of Thwake Dam will be completed this year.
I want to persuade my good brother Mutula and your team, please assist us to get the fertilizer to the farthest corner. Tafadhali, mutusaidie. What I have said is we can build a collabo. We will bring the fertilizer to Makueni, the few spots that we can. You can establish some stores in different areas. We will give you the human beings, the human capital, and the labor to run those stores. We can unlock the huge potential in the soils we have in this region by delivering water. It is the reason why we are going to complete Thwake by February next year. I have given very firm instructions. We cannot build Thwake forever. It must come to an end.
Ian Keitani, Lookuptv.
Thank you, Kitani. That story takes us to a very fast break here on the program. So much more on the other side, including a lot of sporting action. Don't go to her.
Karibu mtazamaji kwenye kipindi cha jamii na itikadi. Kaeni kitako, tuna mengi.
Mapenzi yanapoanza watu huitana baby na majina mengine matamu matamu, lakini baadaye penzi linapogeuka na kuwa shubiri,
mtu anafikia kwenda kumtafuta mke mwingine.
Itakuwaje?
Yule wa kwake nyumbani labda hajamridhisha.
Ni sawa ama vipi Malkia?
Dadangu, wanaume ni kama maembe.
Huyu ni mwanamume atakuja abadiliki.
Mwanaume mwenye wanawake wengi hata katika uchumba, kwenye ndoa ataendelea. Mtu na tabia yake hawachi. Ile umbo la kike likishaanza, kila kitu kishaanza kuwa mahali pake.
Ningependa kukuona.
Sijaenda mahali ambapo mimi nilisikia mtu ati huyu alikuwa shujaa, alikufa katika mstari wa mbele wa ndoa. Sijawahi sikia mimi.
Kipindi ni ukulima ni mali na manjoro. Every Sunday saa 10. Jiunge na mimi ili nikufundishe mengi kuhusu ukulima wa nyanya, wa mboga, kuweka ng'ombe, kila kitu ambayo inahusikana na ukulima, ili ujifundishe mengi, uweze kujua ukulima pia ni mali. Kumbuka kipindi ni nini? Kipindi ni ukulima ni mali na manjoro, upate hela.
Welcome back. This is Lookup News. Nasin Alima here and Felista Adundo on the sign language interpretation. Let's continue. 14 sugarcane farming counties are set to converge in Kakamega for the first ever sugarcane conference aimed at addressing major concerns in the industry. Kakamega County Governor Fernandez Baraza has noted that the event will see new regulations that will offer lasting solutions to the ailing sector.
I want to weigh in on an item that has been a national issue, especially on the issue of sugar in the western region. We are aware that almost the entire Lake Region economic bloc, the 14 counties, at least have invested in cane growing and planting. And of course, Kakamega, we have companies which have not done very well, starting from Mumias, West Kenya, etc. And that is why, after consultation with my colleagues in the Lake Region Economic Bloc, Kakamega County will be hosting the first sugar conference on the 8th of September this year, where we shall invite all the stakeholders in the sugar industry. We want to have an honest conversation with all the key stakeholders so that we come up with a serious blueprint which will inform our policy directions from the national government so that we get a sustainable solution to the sugar industry. And this is going to be a bigger conversation and not just a conversation around Mumiazi sugar. And that is why it is going to be an LREP initiative, but of course, hosted by the great county of Kakamega. So I want to invite all of you and looking forward to receiving a lot of inputs on how, as a people that depend on the sugar industry, we get sustainable solutions.
Away from that, gas retailers and residents can now breathe a sigh of relief following the prices of cooking gas dropping by 500 shillings. This comes just a few months after President William Ruto announced the removal of tax levied on gas in a bid to eliminate the use of wood fuel in the country. Juliet Chepkoech files the following story.
Reduction of cooking gas prices came as a treat to the residents of Narok County. According to Levi Simiran, a gas retailer in the county, the high prices of cooking gas had affected their businesses as most of their customers could not afford to refill their gases that initially costed 3,000 shillings and 1,500 shillings at the beginning of the year to refill a 13 kg and 6 kg cylinder respectively.
Tunashukuru serikali kwa kutupunguzia hii gas. Sasa hii watu wananunua kwa bei nafuu. Gas sasa ni 1,000. 1,000 sasa tunauza kulingana na ile serikali iliyopita tulikuwa tunanunua na bei kali. Sasa hii watu wamefaidika, wananunua na hii mtungi walikuwa wananunua na 1,600. Sasa hii imeteremka. Sasa tunanunua na tunauzia customers na 1,000. Kulingana na wakati waliteremsha gas, wa customers walirudi kwa sababu kila mtu ana uwezo wa kununua gas. Hii mtungi pia imeteremka kwa sababu ilikuwa kitambo huko una afford kununua mtungi. Na saa hii watu wote wanaweza afford kununua kwa sababu ikiwa 3,500 kila mtu ata afford.
Enoch Mwangi, who hails from Narok County, revealed that the move by the government was beneficial to the normal mwananchi, while calling on President William RUTO to find ways of mitigating the harsh economic times and lowering prices of other basic commodities.
Walisema iliteremshwa kiasi, lakini sasa shida imeteremshwa, unga iko juu. Hii gasi hata kama imeteremshwa nitapika nini? Ndio na hii gasi nitaitumia na nini? Si unga iteremshwe ndio niweze kupika na hii niweze kutumia hii gasi.
Stia ilikuwa almost 2k, sasa tuna refill hata na 1,000. So hiyo serikali imetusaidia sana kwa pande ya gas. Tunatarajia ikiendelea hivyo bado itateremka zaidi ya vile iko sai.
With the cooking gas dropping by 500 shillings, the residents are still calling on the government to further reduce the prices to as low as 800 shillings as they had promised during the campaign period, as many Kenyans could not afford the current retail price.
Mimi nilikuwa na expect gas ifike kitu 900 ama 800, lakini sasa unaenda nakwambia 1150. Sasa hata ukiuliza mtu kuna offer ama labda kama ya 50 bob juu, mtu anakuambia hapana, gas ni 1200 ama 1150, hiyo ndio mwisho. Sasa serikali itusaidie ishukishe mambo ya gas, hata ikifika hata kitu 900 ama 800, hapo at least itatusaidia sisi wananchi wa kawaida, pia sisi tuweze kuafford. Unaona.
Juliet Chepkoech, Lookuptv.
Thank you, Juliet. A family in Bumini village, Mumias East constituency in Kakamega County, is living in fear after their 20-year-old daughter went missing in June with no trace. Susan Rambui, a third-year student at Kibabi University, was last seen on 8th of June at the Deputy County Commissioner's office, where she was on attachment, with efforts to find her hitting a dead end.
20-year-old Susan Wambui, a third-year student at Kibabi University in Bungoma, was last seen on June 8th around 9 p.m. at the Deputy County Commissioner's office in Shianda, where she was on attachment.
Ako miaka 20, alikuwa anasoma katika chuo kikuu cha Kibabi University. In her third year, alikuwa anasoma BCom Human Resource Option. Na wakati wa kupotea kwake alikuwa attachment pale kwa ofisi ya Deputy County Commissioner Shianda, that is in Mumias East Sub-County. Na alipotea tarehe 8 mwezi wa 6 masaa ya jioni baada ya kutoka ofisini.
Efforts to locate Susan have borne no fruits as she remains unreachable on her phone.
They told us that where the last place the phone was giving the signal, hapo Shikomari, it doesn't have to mean necessarily that is where she is. They say there is a booster in that place. That is the last location the phone picked a signal. So until when the phone is put on, that it will give another location of where exactly it is.
According to Susan's family, there has never been any disagreements between them, noting that her disappearance was a shock to them.
We've been staying with her for quite some time. Normally she's a reserved person, hapendi mambo mingi. Akiwa kwa nyumba mostly hupenda watch cartoons. Once ameamka na watch cartoon throughout most part of the day.
The family is appealing to anyone with information about her whereabouts to contact them or report to any police station. Amin Abdrahman, Lookuptv.
Residents of Kitengela, Kajiado County are grappling with an acute water shortage as cartels take the lucrative water vending business by storm with a high number of mushrooming water kiosks in the town. The water shortage comes despite the much-hyped national government water project launched in 2019, which remains a white elephant. Previously, EPZ was the sole supplier of metered clean water until the government banned the industrial export from engaging in water business in 2019. Faith Bonareri with the county roundup.
Residents of Kitengela and Kajiado have expressed their disappointment with the national and county government over shortage of clean water in the area, with most of them now forced to get water from vendors within the town.
Sasa si maji tunaletewa na punda, alafu sasa tunabaki kununua tu kwa punda na mkokoteni. Kwa hivyo tunatumia maji ya mkokoteni yale yanauzwa na punda kununua, lakini si maji hapa ambayo tulikuwa natarajia.
Hapa Kitengela kuna shida ya maji. Serikali inashinda ikisema maji itakuja ile ya bei rahisi, lakini hatujaiona. Yenye tunapata tu ni hiyo ya lori yenye inaletwa tunamwagiwa kitu kama hiyo.
Elsewhere in Kakamega County, Elvis Sevencia, a 13-year-old who broke his leg while playing football, has finally undergone surgery after Mulembe Women Group came to his aid, raising over 400,000 shillings for the surgery, while calling on more well-wishers to chip in and help as the family is struggling to make ends meet. Finally, a section of evangelical churches' religious leaders in Laikipia West constituencies have called on political leaders to be mindful of their utterance as they continue to preach peace amid rising political temperatures.
Now, I could like to take this opportunity to welcome the discussions between His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, and the Right Honorable former Prime Minister, Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. To me, this is an answered prayer because I believe a lot of Christians have been praying for peace in our country. And I understand, as the Bible says in the book of 1 Chronicles, that if my people are called by my name, will humble themselves, pray, repent their sins, then God from heaven will hear and He will forgive our sins and heal our nation. So to me, I'm welcoming these talks, and I'm 100% sure that they will produce good fruits in order for our country to remain peaceful, in order for the citizens, to have peace of mind, in order for families not to lose their members. We are avoiding premature death out of the decisions that are not good. And I want to thank the former Prime Minister for even, cooling down and accepting to sit down and negotiate together with the President. And I'm 100% sure that this will produce a long-lasting solution in our country. We continue praying, we continue believing in God that our country will be back to normal.
Faith Bonareri, Lookuptv.
Now let's get sporty. The 9th leg of the KCB East Africa Golf Tour will be held at the Lucius PAR 73 Nakuru Golf Course this weekend. The tournament has attracted over 200 golfers who will converge at the Nakuru-based facility, where 2 teams are expected to qualify for the tour's grand finale set for November at the Karen Country Club. Currently, 8 teams have booked a slot in the grand finale, with the latest entries coming from 8th leg of the series that was held at the Nyeri Club last month. The Safaricom Chapadimba football tournament first county finals are set to be held in Vihiga County this weekend. Finalist Ebwale Boys and Bunyore Assassins will lock horns in the boys category, while Madeira Girls will go head-to-head with the Maroon Queens on Saturday at Mumboher Stadium in Luanda. The winning teams will each take home 75,000 shillings, with the runners-up teams taking home 30 shillings each. Now, the first contingent of the 7th Commonwealth Youth Games arrived safely in Trinidad and Tobago. Kenya will be represented by 38 athletes in 7 sporting disciplines. The Youth Club Games, triathlon, rugby and beach volleyball competitions will be held in Tobago, while cycling, athletics, paralympics and swimming will be played in the trade in Trinidad.
You will have to take it out because immigration is...
Yeah, podium. Ndani yetu tumeiona na bili tumeipanga venye tutakabiliana nao.
Forward to the games is a good start, and of course all eyes are on the medals, and we're really hoping and that the athletes will put their best feet forward and just get whatever we are here to get. Our goals are already set. We've had our trainings, we've had our preparation, so we are all set on the prize.
And that is it from us here on Lookup News. We appreciate you for watching and continue watching Lookup TV. Do let us know where you're watching us from, because Lookup TV comes to you across all of 47 counties. I'm Nelson Elimo. Sign language interpreter for tonight has been Felista Adundo. Let's keep engaging across our social media platforms at Lookup TV on Twitter, Lookup TV on Facebook, and Lookup TV on our YouTube channel. As well as, if you want to get the latest updates, www.lookuptv.co.ke is where you can catch the latest as and when it happens. But for now, it's good night. See you tomorrow. Take care.